Hello everybody. Today I'm going to do a video that I have been wanting to do for a very long time. For all my fellow Superman fans that felt that Henry Cavill's Superman was wasted potential, you're not alone in that, but there was another individual whose Superman I felt was also wasted potential. The man that played Superman in the movies before Henry Cavill, Brandon Routh. Brandon Routh was casted to be Christopher Reeve's successor in Superman Returns back in 2006. And even though I think he mostly did a decent job with the character, A, I don't think he was given a really that good of a script. Two, the costume he wore was terrible. And three, Kate Bosworth sucked as Lois Lane. But that's a different story for another time. Um, I mean, hold on one second. I know Superman Returns isn't among the most highly regarded comic book superhero movies of all time, especially when it comes to the DC Comics side of things, but that's a different story for another time. I remember watching a clip of an interview that Brandon Routh did many years ago where a sequel was planned for Superman Returns. It was going to be much more action packed. It was going to feature Brainiac, possibly Bizarro, and so forth.
So we were dealing with trying to figure out if we could take the job at DC Studio. So we were dealing with trying to figure out if we could take the job at DC Studios. Yeah. And we're talking to David Zaslav and all the legal people there and figuring out what our deals would be. And the day our deal closed, all of a sudden they were announcing that.
I'm sorry, hold on. I'm so sorry about this. So sorry about that, but so sorry, everybody. I'm so sorry about that, everybody. Um, but what was I going with this? Oh my god, I hate it when I do this to people. Oh yeah, here we go. And and the costume he wore, I did not like. I thought it was very crappy. Should have been brighter. I thought the S should have been a bit bigger. I thought the trunk should have been a bit bigger. The cape should have been brighter too. The boots should have been brighter. I mean, I thought the whole costume in general should have been freaking brighter. But that's just me personally. Kate Bosworth, as I said, sucked as Lois Lane, and the script he wasn't good. Doesn't that wasn't that great. Um, to me, it was subpar. And when you give him a subpar script, you're not going to get much from the movie. Now, I remember hearing him say in an interview that a Superman Returns sequel was in development. It was going to be more action packed, and the main villain was going to be Brainiac. But of course, in Superman Returns, despite getting a tons of critically acclaim from critics, and even though it got mixed reaction from audiences, the movie did not do too well in the box office to Warner Brothers. Like, although it made slightly more money than Batman Begins, but that's. But I'm sorry, hold on. But that's not really. I mean, I'm sorry. But that still doesn't mean it's a better movie. I mean, Batman Begins is by far a much better film than Superman Returns, and I think most of us can and will agree with that. But what really aggravated me with the whole Superman Returns movie was the whole side story of Superman looking like a deadbeat dad. I mean, if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen the damn movie. There was a apparently the little boy that we as audiences thought was Lois's and her fiance Richard White's son turns out to be hers and Superman's son. And turns out Superman knocked up and Brandon Routh's Superman knocked up Kate Bosworth's Lois before flying back into space to see if remnants of Krypton were still around. That's what I call bullshit and terrible writing. That's fucking stupid writing, if you ask me. But outside of that crap, yeah, there were times where he was mopey and all this other mopey and all that shit, but that's here neither here nor there. But I still think Brandon Routh did a lot of good, did mostly good with the character. Now, yes, it was cool to see him reprise the role on the CW when they did an adaptation of the Crisis on Infinite Earths event from the comics. And while it was outstanding that they gave him a suit that looked pretty much exactly like the costume Superman wore in the Kingdom Come, whereas in the Kingdom Come universe, I still think he wasn't given enough screen time in that event, and that to me kind of pissed me off. Like, what the hell? You bring over this other Superman, this other iteration of Superman to help you out, and you rarely use the guy. What the hell's up with that crap? Like, that to me is wasting a character's screen time and potential. But as I said, so Brandon Routh, I think, was done in some aspects very dirty by Warner Brothers because this guy wanted to be Superman. This guy played his heart out, put his heart and soul into the role. And I remember going back watching that interview, and he said that after the sequel was canceled, he entered a long and extended state of depression. That's not cool, man. So, um, obviously, look at Henry Cavill. We all know he was done dirty, but that's most because a lot of people at Warner Brothers don't know what the hell they're doing. And I'm not talking about James Gunn and Peter Safran. They know what the hell they're doing, as far as I'm concerned, anyway. So, um, but yeah, I mean, I thought Brandon Routh. I mean, I remember. I mean, Brandon Routh had so much potential to be a really good Superman, to be a not only a really good Superman, but a more memorable and beloved, a well-rounded, beloved super iteration of Superman. But Warner Brothers and the script didn't really do him any favors. That's just the way I feel. Um, that's just the way I feel. If you guys agree with me, that's fine. If you don't, that's cool too. So I really want to get my thoughts on it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.